Alright, y'all, today we have a lock that was sent in by, and it's late in the day again, so I'm going to try to see what the best way to do this is. I got a shipment in from a customer that watched one of our videos from somewhere, and briefly went over this bad boy and another one saying that I had it in. I showed y'all the lock. This turned out to be a very fascinating lock because it has this part right here, which I've never seen. Yeah, I got myself today. I've never seen one built quite like that. Blow it at your ass. Never seen one built quite like this. And at first, in the other video, I was like, yeah, I got a 3-lever, blah, blah, blah. And then I started looking. Let's see if I can get a flashlight down in here. And it is actually a 4-lever because there's our bolt in the very back. That's this part right here. And it almost looks like 3 levers when you glance at it. But if you come down here and get that glare off, it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4 in the bolt. So we've got to deal with this problem because you really, in the US market, you really can't find keys with that side cut. And we've got 4 levers. And most of the time with the levers in American locks, which I don't know, this may actually be overseas. This looks like a true antique. So we have a twofold problem. This is the key that I chose. I just got some other keys in today. I'll put a picture up here. This is one that I actually had before I got all these other ones in. So I'm going to put it right here. But we have to make this side cut for the key to even go in. But once we get the key in, it is going to require just a bit of trimming on the sides, not much at all. And because these blanks are so expensive, this is like a one-shot deal. Like you get one shot to do this. Zoom in. We got mosquitoes, freaking mosquitoes in February. So I'm going to kind of hold this up to see if you can see it. Can you see that? I know it's getting late in the day, but this has been sitting here for too long. So one thing, there is 3M when I was doing that unboxing video. I don't know which video I'm going to get uploaded first. So the diameter here is 0.14, and there is bigger fancy keys that are a bit bigger, and it is 0.16. This lock requires the 0.14. The 0.16 is too big around. And I believe once we get it in there, the post will go into it, but we will not know. And you know, I've had to do this on a lot, but I've had to drill out that center just a bit. We've got a decently thick wall there to do that. So we're going to have to get these side cuts, or this side cut I should say, done first. So typically the easiest way to do that, unless you have the nice equipment, but we're going to pretend because, you know, you may not have types of cutters and all that. So we're going to align it. It looks like it is deep enough to do what it needs to do. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to scratch this. Now, underneath this key is just brass. This is a coating. One good thing about these keys is they do file easily. So what I do on these is get it lined up the best I can and just scratch in where that side cut needs to be. So then I'm going to go over here, I'm going to grab my lock, I'm going to go over here to my workbench because it's kind of hard to do that on the on the, let me make sure I don't have any customer information up here. I don't think I do. Again, I was trying to get this video done fairly quick, so let's move over here with some light so we can see what Jason's doing. Alright, now I use just a regular a pointed file for that, but what I'm going to want to use is a square file, and these are all out of like needle file sets. You can get these at Harbor Freight. You can get them handle, no handle. I like the no handle. I don't know why, I just do. And there are all different profiles. Round you don't use on warded locks. There's this little square one that may be good, but it tapers, and it may just be too wide to do that with. So basically what I'm going to do is grab a few different files. This one looks like a pretty good type of board cut here, and I'm going to come over here and I'll lay my key down. Make sure I'm in view of the camera. Am I in view of the okay, I'm not in view of the camera. Come on, Jason, get it together. Get it together. All right. I have over the years I've made various like clamps and jigs and all that, but I'm not even going to get into that. One side of this flat one that's no good. Let's use this one. This one's pretty uniform all the way around. And I'm actually going to come off to the edge here. So let me once again move my camera. I got to plug my phone in. I've been wailing on my battery today as far as heavy use of the phone. So hopefully you can see that, but I'm taking the wider edge here that I don't know if that has, yeah, that has file. No, it doesn't have file. Okay, let's try, is that too wide? That's too wide. There we go, there's one. So right in line with that mark, I'm going to start filing on it. And I'm going to cut this off so that I can speed this part up. Okay guys, let me stand up so I can see in the camera, make sure y'all can see it. Sped that up. That is just a little bit of hand filing. I am doing this with all files just to show that it is possible. I could, oh, that's not the flat one. I could put it on my machine over there. I could use a cutter bit with a Dremel to slice that out. I could use a couple of other things, but it's not overly necessary. And I am again just showing you how you can do this with regular stuff, regular files here. So let's move this back over and see that it went in completely. So you can see, number one, it's very important to make sure it seats, because if it is not seating properly, that means there is like a hump or something, or a little projection in there. There can also be projections on the inside here. I don't think there are. I think that's smooth. However, as I mentioned before, now that we have it. Now, one thing I did want to point out is as you cut and file, you're going to have to come back in here and kind of smooth this out, especially since we're talking about this 4-lever bad boy here, because it's going to be pretty close spacing. So we need to obviously get rid of some on this part. And we're going to do that by trimming a little bit off. Hey!
I'll do the...
Okay, so we are going to trim a little bit off the back here to make this... typically, this one's still a little tight, but this one is perfect, and that's probably the one it goes through. So we're going to go ahead and trim off a little bit of this back. Again, I don't know how well you are going to be able to see this, but basically I'm doing this. That number right there. So I'm going to stop and speed that up. Okay, so you see how I kind of filed a little bit and then tested and then filed a little bit and tested. And we have success with getting the key in, getting past that little ward. Now comes the fun part. So first and foremost, we look... I have to bring this camera around here so I can look through it and point out things to you guys. Turn around. Alright, so we got good light? We got good light. Okay, so wonderful 4-lever. Alright, so we see I need a pointer, don't I? I need a pointer to point this out in case you can't see it. Focus. Alright, so here's our bolt. Here's our 4-lever. Focus! There's our bolt. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 beautiful levers. Controlled by 3 springs. So we're going to hope that a couple of the levers are not bad. This could be wildly secure. 4-lever usually is secure. But we've got our key turning, right? Alright, so if this was locked on the door, number one, you're going to have a heck of a time, but you're going to have to smoke your blank and test. But the good way to tell is when you turn it and you get a hard stop, almost always that means that the tip of the key, or the front of the key, because the bolt could be on this side. If you look down in here, you see how the bolt is a pretty skinny bar connecting to the part that comes out. It could just as easily been over here. So you never know which side your bolt's on. Almost always it's on the back side of it, but I have seen a fair number on this side. So let's bring this a little bit closer, and you know, like I said, if this cabinet was locked, we would turn the key and we'd hit a hard stop. Now that typically means it's hitting the bolt, and if we look very closely, we can see it is just hitting the bolt right there. But it's also triggering wafer. I'm going to count, when I count wafers, I'm counting from the front, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's also hitting that lever number 3. And we see that lever number 3 projects down quite a bit. And if we do it, we can see through the convenient window there that is okay. So it looks like the number 1 wafer, I'm guessing, is like no cut, maybe. And number 3 is deep, ish. And the number 2, you know, so it's hard to do measurements and cuts from these things, but so shallow, deeper, deepest, same as number 2. So 2 and 4 are the same. 3 is the deepest. And if you look here, right there, in the very back, when you turn the key, it starts to move it, but it doesn't move that one. So basically what we're looking here is a bolt. We need to pass the bolt first, which is just the tip cut. Now, when you're cutting these and filing these, that's why it's good to have a ultra thin file or cutter, because see, this file, which is what I'm going to use probably, is just about the width of each one of these levers. So first things first, I'm going to pretend like this is on a cabinet and I'm getting a hard stop right there. And you can actually smoke these in your hand. Let's see if I have a lighter. Hold on. Alrighty then. Smoking blanks is a little pointless on brass keys because we can see that we already have 2 marks. So that's our bolt mark and that's our 3rd mark. So first things first, we're gonna need to cut that bolt down a bit. The bolt cut. Hey, where'd that file go that I was gonna use? Yeah, this is it. So we're gonna see a little mark. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully give us some clearance on this bolt. Until it passes. And since it's the tip cut, I can just kind of go off the edge here. I do this to get my ledge to guide off of. Cut it down just sorry, I was out of frame while I was doing that. So again, what I was saying is I start off on this tip. Now go ahead and knock it down because it didn't need knocked down a whole lot. I start with this edge. And then once I get this ledge that I can kind of ride off of, go back to the little bit coarser file there, the side, which cuts a little bit more aggressively to speed it up. Alright, we're only cutting a little bit because I think it's going to clear pretty easily. Focus. Focus. There we go. So see how it's kind of angling up at the tip? It's like deeper here and then goes up. It needs to be level. So, and that's because I was just probably holding the file wrong. Alright. Okay, let's see how that does. Again, you don't want to cut too deep or you are SOL. Let's get this in the light and see if it passes that. Not quite because of that tip. Let's go ahead and take a bit more off. So basically what I'm doing is roughing in here. I'm gonna have to come back and now remember, when you do these sides you get a little projection going off the front and that can throw off your spacing, so you want to smooth this part down. See how it's still angled? That's not good. That is just because this is a angled file, so I'm going to come in with a flat file and try to level that out. We will use this flat file actually. There we go. So that should do it. Let's take a look again. Alright, so it looks like it's gonna pass it. Gonna go just under it, but our main source of issue is that really deep wafer. Now let me get another flashlight. Where'd my damn flashlight go? I left it over there. Hold on. Alright, so let's shed a little light on this. So now we see that it is probably going to pass that bolt, but it's not allowed to turn any further because of that third wafer. So even though I said I am not going to do this with a machine, oh, I'm talking right into the microphone. I'm gonna do it with the machine because I have the ability. However, you can do the same thing with the file. So I went ahead and marked where that wafer is. Not very straight, but that's okay because the machine will hold it straight. So I could sit here and file. I could sit here and file and speed it up. But I'm not. I'm going to go to the machine and cut it real quick. Obviously, having the machine helps, but you do not need it. So I'm just going to go cut it down just a bit. Day 2. Not because it's taken me 2 days, but because I'm just now getting back to this from regular work. So let me clear a spot, keep my files here. And go ahead and bring my dang thing around here, I guess, so that I can see what I'm doing. Get a good little view for you guys. So we ended off yesterday, before I had to zip out of here, we ended up cutting wafer 3 because that is the deepest wafer item. I could have washed my hands for you guys, but so this is our machine cut again. Like I said, you could have done this with a file, but in an attempt to speed this up, because I am doing this for commercial purposes, we are going to use the machine in place of the file. So every time you make one of those cuts, come in and smooth the edge. Smooth that burr off. That lady was seriously going to take up 2 parking places. Oh my gosh. These people. Okay, let's see what it does. See how it lines up in our lock. Right there on it. And it is still needs to go deeper. Still. We will clear the bolt. But we need to go considerably deeper on that. Again, like I talked about earlier, that is an indication that that is a really deep bolt. These are shallow. So it looks like we're going to have shallow, medium, deep, medium. So let's knock a little bit off more. A little bit more off. Yeah. Okay, we're back. We have it deeper now. We're going to have to start on cut. Oh yeah, you know, there's another thing that helps when you're doing this. Here at Dykes, you don't even have to file with these brass blanks usually because you can come in with Dykes and just scrape and cut it off the side. See how far along we are now. Ooh, oh, look at that. It's going further. We like that. We really like that. Lined up pretty dang well. Pretty much the width of it. We're going to see which one is raising up. That one is clearing it. However, see the bottom coming up for what's this, 1 and 2? See if we can just watch it. They got, you know, one doesn't really look like it does anything. I wonder if that's just a fixed, not a lever. That may just be a fixed plate in there, guys. Which is why there are only 3 springs. Like a spacer plate of some kind. And I'm guessing that because when I lift this up, let me look at it through, not through the camera. When I lift that up, that plate really doesn't move, but the wafer behind it does. Anyway, so we're gonna ignore one cut, which is the cut closest to this. And then we're going to go ahead and knock down 2 and coming out from behind the camera just to look at it here. knock down 2 and 4. Alright, let's see a rough version of that, which we have to clean up. So when you cut the side cuts, a lot of times, let me find the right file here. Here we go. As you're cutting it, you know, with your wheel, the metal will fold over into this. So you have to kind of come back and go into that as you cut or file, because the metal will fold. When I say fold, just kind of bend into it. It's pretty soft brass. You can see how this does a fairly decent job. And then we're going to come back through and give us a little, sorry, I need to hang it off the edge here, so. Don't worry about the finish. The finish is going to be totally gone when you're done, but it will darken back up one day. Alright, now let's keep this one out and use this one to get us that little gap going there. Alright, then I'm gonna brush off this tip cut. I'm leaving that back in. I may have to make this number 2 cut a bit wider. In fact, I think I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that by going sideways with the file. Not much until we look at it. Until we see how I'm doing here. Okay, so got that little bitty nipple sticking up. Need a pointer. Need a pointer. Hello, pointer. Got this little bitty nipple sticking up right here on the key that I need to get rid of. But we're going further, definitely. And we are lifting up. Which plate is that? Alright. So from what I've been able to determine by lifting that up, it's kind of hard to tell because of the spacing, but I think I need to go even deeper on my middle cut there for it to allow it to go any further. So we are going to go a bit deeper there. Alright, we're getting to the part where it's kind of sketchy. Kind of sketchy because you don't want to go too far. These blanks are not inexpensive. And I may very well have missed it by misreading it. I never claimed to be the expert on this. Damn it, Jim. I'm just doing it and you're just watching, right? Okay, so I went back deeper with 3. And, come on now, Jason, what's wrong with you? Where is that? Damn, there it is. We got a little debris on the bottom of that. So I'm going to go ahead and stroke it. Oh, perfect thickness too. Okay. So, still ignoring that first cut mostly. Oh shoot. Hold on. Spam callers. Okay, so we're in and we're checking this out. We're seeing what's gonna happen. Everything's lining up good, huh? Oh, we're a little bit further. So when we see that bottom coming up right there, that means we're still not deep enough. So we have to determine which bottom wafer that is doing that. I'm still guessing it's our heavy duty third one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So hard to see in this crack. And you can't really tell from above. So ignoring that first plate here. Let's see if we can get some light on the subject here. There we go. So this is what I'm thinking is plate 1. So plate 2 is hidden behind this, and plate 1 is not really, I don't really think it does anything. I think it's just like a fake plate. So this 1 is hiding behind here, so that's 2. So 1, counting the flake plate is 1. This one is pretty good. This 2 is still a little bit too deep because it's raising up the bottom. But boys, you know what? I think we're almost there. We are so close. I can feel it. I can taste it. No, I'm not going to taste it. Hold on. Oh, and I do want to point this out before I cut it any further. Going back to the whole, if we were impressioning this, you know, smoking it by candle. If we look right here, we had started getting that spring tension, and you know you've passed the bolt, and you know basically it's your levers because you got spring instead of a hard stop. But if we turn it a few times and then look at our key in the direction of travel, so it would be on this side because that side is where the levers are pressing in. If we look at it real close, we can see a mark. If you can't see it, I'll point it out to you. You can see a couple of little faint marks right here. So what that is, that's that lever pressing down right there because it's trying to turn and it's not quite enough. So I'm going to try to get it from all angles and maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go, that's a good angle, at least for me anyway. I can see the little notches right there. So if you're doing this blind, you could, or you know, with it being locked, you could tell that would be where you want to keep cutting. You are not going to be able to tell much of a difference from what I just had in my hand, so I'm not even going to bother showing you, but suffice to say, I only cut a tiny little bit and squared up the other ones, which we still have to do some final squaring up at the very end, but that is at the very end after we get our basic profile, which, if I am not mistaken, based on my doing this for, you know, whatever, how long I've been doing this shit for. I'm guessing that's our profile right there, boys. Of course, it needs to be cleaned up. We see instead of flat edges, we can see it kind of curved in. So what I'll do is I'll come in here with the file, and specifically right there, and then like right here, instead of being straight, it kind of has a curve. So, but we are still in the working phase, so we are not worried about finish up until it is time. Y'all ready? Think this is gonna do it? I hope so, because I'm tired of doing this video. Here we go. No, it didn't do it. It didn't. It's close. It's so close. What is holding us up? I could have swore. I could have swore. So now I'm trying to figure out if that is the wafer in front of. Yeah, that's behind. Alright, so what we have here, boys, is I think. Let me look at it off camera just to see. Coming up to, okay, so everything's coming up too high. Now we need to go down just a little bit on all of them.
Maybe.
Okay, so basically I came down all the way across the board. All cuts. Took a little bit off of each one. Left this front one high. Need to knock off a little bit there. Okay, what do we want to bet this time? Oh, stop trying to bet, Jason. It's never gonna work. Oh, look at that. Look, it's trying. It's trying. What's holding us up? What is holding us up? Plate number 1 is definitely a plate that's holding us up. So watch this. Plate number 1 is this highest peak right here. So we are going to find us a D peaker. And de-peak it. Because that, I believe, y'all, is the only thing boggling us down. I took a little bit off. Alright, so then let's go ahead and start pre getting ready for the finish up of it. About ready for a money shot, huh, y'all? Money shot? What you think? Oh my goodness. First wafer still a little high. First wafer is definitely a in-use wafer, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and knock it down real quick. Okay. Last. How many times have I said that? So, for sure, 4 wafer. Complicated little feller, huh? 3 wafer is not overly uncommon, but 4 wafer in the US for a desk. And of course, this is probably some European desk or something, so almost guaranteed, given the state of the lock, that this came from the other side of the pond. I'm getting the back edge of that now. Let's fold it over a little bit. Okay, I think we got our edge, or our finished key. I know I've said that a couple of times, but I'm going to clean that up. But let's check it. Where are we? Fits beautifully on the wafers. Oh, key has gone further now. Before we go to start lubing it and all that, I'm gonna look. I'm getting some decent signs that all three wafers are still a little high. So last time, it's going to go out a little bit more and a little bit more, and if we look at it now, we should see some very clear marks. We see very clear marks there, there, and there. So we're going to go a little bit deeper on each one. Okay, like I said in the very beginning, you always err on the side of caution. You go slow, you will have good results. You won't waste your key blank because you cannot put metal back after it has gone away. So we see after that last cutting, come on. There it is. Needs to be cleaned up again, basically. So I'm going to spend just a minute doing that. May not be quite in camera. I'm going to try my best. What happens if you don't clean it up and you have these little side burrs, the wafer, instead of going like it's supposed to, I just can't keep track of that one, can I? Instead of doing what it's supposed to, it hangs up on the little burr that's, you know, projecting out. So we want to try to keep those as clean as possible. Are we there yet? You know, this one thing about this is it's interesting to me because this lock probably hadn't been unlocked in no telling how long. And I just did it. Whoa! Still a little tight. We're going to see why that is. Wafer number one. Wafer number one, you are the winner. Wafer number one is the win. Well, probably 2 or 4 as well. See those marks right there. So, still being a little too cautious, I guess. Let me take all 3 of those down. Okay, I think this will be the last clip, guys. I've turned my camera on and off 53,000 times. touch the back up a little bit. Now we should start getting some good marks. Oh yeah, 3, 4. Three, 4, still all just a little bit high. So what we're going to do there is we're going to take the file with the file edge. One of these has a file edge, I think. Not that one. And start the cleanup process, because cleaning it up will take off the required amount. As well as, like I've mentioned before, give it a slight little bevel. That will let it do its thing a little bit better. Still getting some pretty good marks in that middle. So, last one. Well, this will probably wrap up this video, guys. As always, I really appreciate everybody watching. You do have to take your time with these fellas, which is why it can be a little bit more expensive to get a key. And you can't just whip out a, like, oh, okay, well, give me, I've had people come in, give me 5 keys for that. I'm like, hey, okay, but I might want to warn you, it is fairly expensive per key to get one made. Desk locks and keys were made, you know, for one person, the owner of the desk, or the hutch, or whatever. Why don't you speed out of here, crazy lady? So, putting our little chamfers on each side. That will help it kind of glide with those levers. Not be so catchy is the idea behind that. But I think this sucker right here is gonna get us. What you think, guys? I've asked y'all 5 times if it was it, and y'all are all like, "That's it, that's it, that's it." No, Jason, you suck. It was supposed to be it a long time ago. I know. Supposed to be it a long time ago, but it didn't turn out that way. Let's go ahead and put a little bit deeper. Go ahead and give this a little bit more oomph too. Oh, throw that key down. I gotta throw it down to make it work right. And the final clicky. Here's our final key. Again, not quite final key. Hold on. My OCD kind of fired off on this part right here. There we go. Final key. Final key. Looks pretty good. And let's give her... Well, we can't have it without dropping the lock and the key, right? Okay, go up to our hutch or our desk. And... voila. So beautiful. So beautiful. Let's look at our levers here. Oh, that little one wafer could go down. It's not gonna hurt anything. So we'll go ahead and take it on down. That's kind of a weird wafer right there, really. It's like floating wafer. There we go. That should fix it. Okay, just take it down a little bit. Still goes up, huh? You never know. You don't want to take it too far because sometimes it's supposed to do that to maybe hold the bolt steady or something, or to give it tension when turning. I have taken this and gone too far down, and all of a sudden my perfectly made key ceased working. So I'm frequently hesitant to mess with something, but I took it down a little bit more. Let's see what that front plate does. See, I could keep on going down. I'm not gonna, because the key works perfectly well, and any pressure, see, it's already on it. I'm not even turning the key and that plate's pushed up, so I don't think that plate really does anything. It just lifts up just a bit across the whole thing instead of at an angle. So I'm assuming that's there to give it some tension, because again, we only had 3 springs. And to top this off, I always take a high quality oil, or in this case, the only oil I have, and I don't really have a whole lot of it, do I? And Yeah, I got just enough. Yeah, I'm blowing oil in there. Oh yeah, it was empty anyway. Time to get rid of that. Okay, so I put a little coat of oil on there. That'll kind of get in on this metal. Maybe protect it some. As well as coat those springs. And the side bonus of make it work well. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this pretty long little video. Properly do this. I've had somebody ask in another video, but it can be between 30 minutes to an hour to make some of these keys by hand. So charge accordingly. And if y'all have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments section there. But the customer that has this one should be very pleased with her cool key. She can hang a real pretty tassel off this big ring. Come on. Come on. Use it as a weapon. No. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. Peace.